I'm Donald J. Trump and I'm your next President of the United States. Mr. Trump, on behalf of our Ask Trump supporters, we would like to ask you the following questions. Question 1. We firmly believe Hillary will try and steal this election through vote fraud, especially given recent events. What is your campaign doing to ensure that we have a fair election? Question 2. What role should NASA play in helping to make America great again? 1. Voter fraud is always a serious concern and authorities must be vigilant from keeping those from voting that are not authorized to do so. 2. Honestly, I think NASA is wonderful. America has always led the world in space exploration. Mr. Trump, reports estimate that 90% of US media is owned by 6 companies. The US mass media has fused into a gross alliance with big business and big government, as this election has shown more than any other. The dishonest media is rigging our democracy with a radical agenda that divides Americans and causes nothing but sensationalism and hatred at the expense of the USA. They are killing our country for ratings and profit, with impunity. How will you, as president, tackle this protected class of media elites without stepping on the First Amendment rights of average Americans? I have been very concerned about media bias and the total dishonesty of the press. I think new media is a great way to get out the truth. Mr. Trump, what is your plan for reducing or removing the influence of money on politics? Keeping crooked Hillary Clinton out of the White House. America has a proud tradition of stealing the most brilliant and talented people from countries around the world for ourselves. Albert Einstein, Werner von Braun, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Melania Trump, the list goes on and on. In recent years, however, H-1B visa abuse has become rampant. A program meant to bring truly exceptional talent to America has been twisted by globalist politicians and corporations, allowing low-cost, short-term labor to steal jobs from everyday Americans and take everything they learn back to their home countries. Will you curb H-1B abuse and make sure visas are going to people who want to become American, stay American, and make America great? I have put forward a detailed plan for H-1B reform to protect American workers, which can be viewed on the immigration paper on my website. My plan is the exact opposite of crooked Hillary Clinton. Mr. Trump, as a self-employed young American, my health insurance costs have skyrocketed under Obamacare. Paying close to $300 a month with a $6,000 deductible is a challenge as I try and grow my business. What will you do as president to ensure that myself and others can not only enjoy the security of having health insurance, but also afford to keep it? One of the first things I will do is to repeal and replace disastrous Obamacare. I will put forward an amazing new plan, which will include many reforms, such as letting people buy insurance across state lines, increasing choice and competition, and bargaining for better, cheaper drug prices. During your rapid-fire press Q&A this morning, you mentioned the hundreds of days it's been since Hillary's last press conference. What do you think is the reason for Hillary refusing to hold any press conferences for such a huge amount of time? Follow-up. Do you think Hillary will attempt to decrease the number of times she has to debate you like she did to Bernie during the Democratic primary, or even avoid debating you altogether like she's avoided press conferences altogether this year? Crooked Hillary Clinton will not do press conferences because she cannot explain her illegally deleted 33,000 emails, or her disaster in Libya, or her role pushing TPP, which she would 100% approve if she got the chance, or her support for a 550% increase in Syrian refugees, etc. Which US president do you admire the most? There have been many amazing presidents in American history, including George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Dwight Eisenhower and Ronald Reagan, all of whom I greatly admire. Hello Mr. Trump. As you may know, there are a lot of young Bernie Sanders supporters out there who have become disillusioned by both the conduct of the DNC and by the policy positions of Secretary Clinton. Many of these Bernie Sanders frequent this site. What is the most important thing you would like to convey about yourself and your policy positions to the people who voted for Bernie in the primary but are now considering either staying home or voting third party in November? Though Bernie is exhausted and has given up on his revolution, many of his voters still want to keep up the fight. I expect that millions of Bernie voters will refuse to vote for Hillary because of her support for the war in Iraq, the invasion of Libya, NAFTA and TPP, and of course because she is totally bought and sold by special interests. She and her husband have been paid millions and millions by global corporations and powerful interests who will control her every decision. She is their puppet, and they pull the strings. We welcome with open arms all voters who want an honest government and to fix our rigged system so it works for the people. This includes fixing one of Bernie's biggest issues, our terrible trade deals that strip our country of its jobs and wealth. Hello Mr. Trump, are you getting tired of winning? I am never tired of winning, and as your president I will win for you, the American people. I'm with you. Mr. Trump, what do you feel is the greatest issue facing young Americans today? The question most young people ask me is about the rising cost of education, terrible student debt and total lack of jobs. Youth unemployment is through the roof, and millions more are underemployed. It's a total disaster. I will create millions of new jobs, reform our education system, and work to free young Americans from the awful burden of debt.